Welcome to the Off Tackle with John Fina show on the Overreaction Sports Network. Well, what is going on, everybody? Welcome everybody into the Off Tackle with John Fina show on the Overreaction Sports Network, powered by Believe. My name is Joe Miller. You can find me on Twitter at Joe Miller Wired. That guy right over there is John Fina, former Buffalo Bill, former offensive tackle for the Buffalo Bills. You can find him on Twitter at John Fina. You can be one of the 8 million people that follow John Fina on Twitter because he's a former Buffalo Bill. Please do it. Sorry, the pre-show banter. Yeah, John and I were having some fun. Please do us a favor. Please like, please subscribe, whatever platform you are consuming this vidcast on live right now, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube. Please like, please subscribe. Please do us a favor. Actually, if you're not on YouTube right now and you're watching this live, jump over to YouTube, jump into the comment section. There's a great community there. A bunch of our friends are actually in the room already. Make sure you pound that like button. And if you're listening to this in post as a podcast, same thing. Please do us a favor. Please like, please subscribe. John, it's Victory Monday. Still, it's Victory Tuesday tomorrow.
Victory Friday, Victory Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's going to last forever. I hope it lasts forever.
The way to next week, Monday.
All the way to next. I'm thinking all the way to that second week of February. That's
one thing that is not, that'd be great. One thing that has not been talked about is the schedule makers did the unthinkable. They gave the Bills a Thursday night football game, and then basically they're off until next Monday. Normally you'd play a Thursday night game, you come back the next week on Sunday. The Bills actually get an extra day of rest.
They did that for me so I could time it up and I can be the legend of the game in Buffalo v. Jacksonville. So, I had to have a call with the NFL scheduling department. There were meetings and bureaucracies and waivers to be signed, but we got it done, Joe. We did it just for me and you.
So I'm going to be at the game. You're going to be at the game. You're going to be actually on the field for the beginning of the game. And then you're going to be probably in a suite hanging out with bougie people, doing bougie things. But I just want to make sure, as I talked about yesterday on the Overreaction Sports Show when Jerry was with us, that you get the hey-heys right, because Drew Bledsoe, and we love Drew Bledsoe. This is not a knock.
I love
on
Drew.
We've had Drew on this show before. Drew was a lot of fun. We hung out with Drew at the Cali Gala a couple of years ago. But he did a very whoa.
What? No, isn't it? Hey.
Yes.
Okay, thank God I got it. That was my audition.
Literally. Whoa. And the crowd was like,
that sounds like it was. Did you get that from Animal House? Was that an Animal House scene?
And then the crowd responded, hey, and then he went, oh. And like he didn't even follow the crowd's prompting, but inevitably the crowd won because there's 70,000 of us. So I just want to make sure that you represent this show, this network, me, Jerry, and everybody else properly out there on the football. And it's going to be warm. The last time you were on the field, it was what, minus 17 or something like that. Is that right? The last time you were on the field?
Yes, but I'll say this, Joe. I think both of us knowing him really well, he might have done that on purpose because he's a funny guy. He was like, I'm going to totally mess with 79,421 people right now and see who gets it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's his way for sure.
Buffalo's happening now. Anyways, let's get to the show.
Let's do it.
We are going to break down some offensive line play, some trenches play for the Buffalo Bills, between the Bills and the Miami Dolphins on this year episode. Before we do that, I think last week we started with the what needed work. And we kind of talked about in the new format, shortening these episodes up, that maybe that was going to work a little bit better, but there's not a whole lot of what needs work necessarily that kind of came out of this game. The only thing that I could think of, and I thought about this hard, and I rewatched the game a couple times. For me, and it's situational football. So I guess what that means is I'm going first, for lack of a better way of saying it. And as I'm looking for the banners for this show, what needs work situationally. And it's not anything that's necessarily, and I don't know that you can speak to it. I mean, you were obviously a player for a very long time in this league. It feels like the Bills are not always on the right side of the percentages when the defense makes that huge stop and the Bills offense jumps on the field and just has to go down the field and get points, whether it's 3 points or a touchdown. It's like the Bills defense steps up and they give us that big stop, and the Mafia, you, me, and everybody else, we're just, yes, we got the stop. Now all the offense has to do is go down and score, put this game out of reach. And then inevitably it's a 3-and-out or 4-and-out. Do you understand? Does that make sense? And I don't know necessarily how you solve that problem necessarily.
Yeah, but I take umbrage with the language that you chose.
Pick it apart.
I mean, you said all the offense has to do is just kick a field goal, seal the game, right? I mean, I'm like, would it were that easy? My God, I would have like room full of Super Bowl trophies.
It should be that easy. It should be that easy. You know what I'm saying, though. There's a heightened level of momentum. There should be a momentum shift, right?
You're right, and I totally agree with you. And again, this is just through the optics of rooting for your own team, where if you put the glasses on the other team, they're saying the exact opposite, right? The pride factor, the plan factor, the execution factor. No Bills offense goes out onto the field after either a big takeaway, a big return, or a significant stop, returning a punt, and decides, you know what, we're just going to kind of give it back to them.
Yeah,
right? That's never the thinking. And I think part of the videos that I'm going to show are going to relate to that, because what I wanted to dig into a little bit, we could look at every play offensively and judge the offensive line on every play, but that doesn't make any sense without some background, Joe. Like I want to take you into the heart and mind of the singular offensive player, the group of offensive linemen, and the philosophy and goals that we more or less operate under.
That sounds amazing.
Well, it does sound amazing. The execution of it, I hope, is similarly amazing. Otherwise, I'll shame myself on my own program. That would be embarrassing.
By the way, before you get started, quick shout out to Mama Clark, Bonnie Clark. My mom is actually 2 floors above me. She's hanging out with us for the next month. So hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Bonnie Clark. Hi, Maggie. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Richard, and everybody else in the comments. Thank you for coming.
Mom desperately wants to be on the show, and I told her no. So that's where we're at.
Right. Okay. We had the girls on last year. I think we fulfilled our obligation.
We did. So with that, as far as just outside of what you've prepared and brought for the episode, was there anything else that maybe you felt that the Bills could maybe touch a little bit on outside of my ridiculous comment about how they should just go down and score every time?
They should every time. I mean,
every time.
Just like the New England playoff game. Look, there's never a game where you come out of it and say we were perfect. Right. I mean, even in that particular game, they'll cut it up, they'll dice it up. Everybody will look at that film and say, man, I can't believe I did X, Y, Z. And the play was still successful because almost all the plays in that game had a varying degree of success.
Right.
So I think the concept is you don't have to be perfect every play, but you have to be assignment perfect.
Right. Okay? Right.
Because and I tell the kids I coach all the time, I'm like, look, if I could just get you aiming at the right guy, then you've got a 50% chance of winning the actual battle. But if you're not even going to block the right guy, we have no chance. Right.
If we can get your body in the way, you've got a much better chance of
exactly. And I'm pretty brutal as a coach. Like when a kid misses a block, I literally walk up to him and I say, you missed your block. And he's like, yeah, my bad. And I'm like, you know what? Turn around and tell the running back that you're sorry because he got dropped for 3 yards and hammered. And then climb up to the 19th row and go find his mother and say that it wasn't important enough for me to block that guy. Go ahead.
Wow.
That's how important this is. But hey, my caveat is I tell the kids, as soon as you step off the sideline onto the field, you better have left your feelings on the sideline because I don't have them. When I'm on the field, I don't have any feelings and I'm not given, right? If you've got them, park them somewhere else, not interested.
John Fina, that young man over there had one chance to go to college, and it was that run play that you didn't block on. And because you missed your block, he's not going to – do you know what that's going to do to the generations of his family?
You know what? They'll get over it, or they won't. But so you say that like I'm a bad person.
No, I don't. I think it's amazing. I think it's amazing.
Which is arguable. But I mean, you've seen it. You've coached, or you've been around, young girls playing in the various sports.
Soccer,
every parent there
sure.
thinks they have the next Caitlin Clark or the next
do.
Mia Hamm, right? They all well, if they want to believe that, then they need to be coached like those women got coached. And I'm the guy.
Agreed.
Right? I don't hold back.
I love it.
All right, so let's dig in a little bit. We got 3 clips to show. They're not long. They're not hard to understand. I think it'll enlighten maybe, one person, which, we always want to reach one person, Joe.
Just one.
But let's start with like John Fina's personal offensive line Bible. Okay, we touched on some of this stuff. Number 1 rule, block the right guy. Don't have a single assignment error. Now, when we talk about perfection, that's actually one thing you can do. You can have every assignment right. Okay. Number 2, no penalties. Very hard to do, challenging, subjective, but that's the goal. No assignment errors, no penalties. And number 3, stay off the ground. You're not good to anybody on the ground. If you can do those 3 things, you really give yourself and the rest of the guys a shot. Any questions, Joe?
Isn't there a number 4? Isn't there a Deadpool line in there, like maximum effort? I feel like that should be
maximum effort. Oh my God, I use that all the time with JV. I'm like, before we go onto the field, I'm like, let's go Deadpool. Maximum effort.
Exactly. I was right.
Very good. Very good. Any questions? You good?
I'm excited.
So that's your individual offensive line mentality, right? This is me. Those are my goals, right?
Right.
I still got a battle, but if I don't do those 3 things right, I'm going to lose a hell of a lot of battles.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So as a group, right? As a group, what do you want to do? Look, there are defensive ends in this league that are making 25, 30, $80 million a year, right? And why do they do that? Because they're impact players. So game plan to neutralize the impact players. We used to do it all the time. We're going to slide our protection to this guy. We're going to block this guy on the run this way. We're going to either angle block it. We're going to zone block it because of their abilities in which we are trying to minimize, right? As a group, neutralize the impact players like Zaven Collins from Arizona, like Jalen Phillips from Miami.
Yep.
Right. Those guys, you gotta have your mind on. Number 2, as a group, everybody has to go to the John Fina Bible and be consistent and adhere to the rules. No assignment errors, no penalties, and stay off the damn ground.
Right.
As a group, that should be a group goal. Number 3, no negative running plays, no TFLs. No TFLs. That is huge, especially because the majority of teams, well, probably now only 50% of teams run the ball on first down. If you can at least get to the line of scrimmage, 2nd and 10 is so much more mentally approachable than 2nd and 12, 2nd and 13, 2nd and 14. No negative plays on the run. Okay, now you got to address pass protection as a group. In the thought process is the singular apex of the game is no sacks, right? Right. And descending from there, I want to reduce the number of quarterback hits. They're going to happen, right? Defenses bring pressure. We want to have that down to, 1 or none. Pressure, right? That's the last one. Pressure. We want to keep the quarterback on his spot. We don't want him running because of pressure. He might run because he's opportunistic, but we don't want to force him into a position where he's running around like we like to do, like we watch Tua do, and like we watch Kyler Murray do.
Right.
So that in a nutshell, personal philosophy, group philosophy. Now, there's so much pride in offensive line play. Like they take this to heart. If you miss your block, if you give up a hit on the quarterback, if you give a tackle for a loss, and I think it's the inverse because we get so little of the credit. So few people put offensive linemen up on a pedestal that every time we do something not so great, we feel 10 times worse because every play matters. Every snap matters. So that's the philosophy, really. The heartbeat of your team and your offense is really the offensive line. Guys lead the offensive line, guys lead the offense, but the heartbeat where everybody turns when things are going a little bit sideways, they always get the blame first. They get the least credit when it goes really well, but they band together and they adhere to principles which, when executed beautifully, lead to W's. That's it. What do you think?
I think it's amazing. That was a lot. I wish I was taking notes. So hopefully those
you
of
know
you
what's
at
really
home.
Cool? I totally invented this thing called YouTube. You can watch this over and over and over.
I was literally just going to say that people watching on YouTube can rewind it and start from the beginning and listen to that. Right? Take solid notes. But had I known, I've got notebooks and paper around and pens and stuff. I should have taken notes. But my bad.
I'll take a picture of my notes. I don't know if you'll be able to read it. It looks like it's in Cyrillic.
Gotcha.
Joe?
Yes, sir.
You want to look at some plays?
I do. That would be amazing. I'm amped up for this. It's been a minute since we've looked at plays.
It's been a minute. I don't think we did it once last year. So for the audience, the first play I'm going to bring up is a 5-man pass protection. Okay. The offensive line is going to slide to the left, and we're going to have an unblocked guy on the right. And the reason I bring this up is because it's very easy to blame the offensive line for pressure where pressure did not exist due to the offensive line. And the way the quarterback equips himself is he knows where the line is going, and he has to account for a guy in a zone. So I'm going to bring this play up right here. And as you can see, all right, it's 5-man protection. Everybody takes a guy, but we have to slide one way or another. That's just the way they're going to call it. So we're going to slide to our left, which means that our right guard, center, left guard, left tackle are going to be sliding to the left, to whatever threat is out in space, if there is one or not. And what happens, that puts Spencer Brown one-on-one on the defensive end. So we have to guess who we think the pressure is going to come from. And in this instance, what Miami actually does is they drop the defensive end over Deion Dawkins. He bails. Okay, so now Deion's not blocking anybody unless somebody comes off the edge, which we know there's no one coming off the edge because he's going to help David Edwards straight away. Now turn your eyes over to Spencer Brown. So Osiris Torrance is going to his left to work with McGovern. Spencer Brown is one-on-one with the defensive end, but you see this linebacker or nickel corner, number 5, he flashes on the edge and he comes upfield. We just don't have a guy for him. The X is in a route or the Y is in a route, so we look like we have had a mental error on the offensive line. But Josh knows that guy's unblocked. Josh knows. So if I freeze this right here, Josh opportunistically has a nice wide hole because Spencer Brown's guy came inside, and you've got some width to play with. Josh goes on the run and makes a great play. So the point of me showing you this clip is you can't account for everybody. We got 5 guys. They typically have 6 up in the box. You've got to make a call, and that call is premised on their tendencies. Who do they bring in these situations? Where do we think pressure is going to come from? Once Connor McGovern makes the decision that we're going to slide left, Josh Allen knows that. And as the pre-snap alignment sets for the defense, he sees that guy outside of Spencer Brown, and he says, he knows who himself, he knows that's my guy. I'm responsible for him.
Back it up. Back it up and show it one more time. Now that you've given us all the information on the play.
Okay. In real time. And there it is. There's the seam. Josh takes it. All right.
It's super good. Did he complete that pass, or was that a run play? Was that the one where he did the hip slide?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he hip slid on this one, right? So he's taken off down the field. I cut the frame because I'm an offensive lineman. I mean, I've seen everything I need to know. Everything beyond this, where we did our job, if it all goes haywire, it's somebody else's fault.
Could you back it up one more time? I want to see what Deion ended up doing. Deion, did he get a chip on that defensive tackle?
So it doesn't matter. I mean, David Edwards has him. He takes him over. But I'll tell you the beautiful thing about what Edwards does here, and this is another thing that offensive linemen say to each other all the time, and coaches say, look for work.
You've said that here. You've said that on the show. Yep.
So Deion takes him over, and now David is not really in a great position to block anybody, but he's in a good position to decapitate somebody.
to finish a play. Basically.
Yes, to punish somebody for getting close to 17.
Exactly. Love it.
You okay?
No, that's fantastic. That's super good. So yeah.
Good. I hope you enjoyed that. All right. The second play is what we call split zone, zone revert. You've heard it called a bunch of things. That's where the entire offensive line goes to the left, and Deion Dawkins will pull across to the right. In this instance, we're running it the opposite way. The offensive line is supposed to be going to the right, and Spencer Brown is supposed to come off the formation to the left.
So now they do this both ways. They invert it. They do it with Dion, and then they invert it, go the opposite direction.
You got to run it both ways. This is pretty interesting because the way this play fails is not necessarily due to the offensive scheme, but it's due to the defensive scheme. And I've looked at this play a number of times, and of course, when I show it to you, you're going to be like, "Oh yeah, they should have just done what John Fina was thinking." Except it happens in the blink of an eye. Okay,
Gotcha.
I'm going to put this up here. I'm going to let it run one time on its own, and I'm going to bring it back. Now, this could be considered either a mental error or a wrinkle that Dion Dawkins has here. So this blurry image on your right is Spencer Brown pulling across the formation.
Yep, saw it.
Ostensibly, he's going to take the linebacker, Wilson, I think his name is, coming through the B gap. Dion Dawkins is blocking out. Now, the object of this play could be to wrap Spencer Brown up into the hole and lead block downhill with his jersey, his numbers facing the end zone. This is a wrinkle on the typical split zone where Dion Dawkins would be moving to his right and we kicking out the defensive end. So this could be a wrinkle or it could be an assignment error. I'll run it again one more time. And we have another issue on this play where once they make this adjustment, the nose guard moves from David Edwards down onto Connor McGovern. And as I watch this in slow-mo, I say to myself, knowing what the play is, what I would have done is I would have ace blocked Edwards and McGovern.
What's an ace block? What's an ace block?
An ace is a front side combination with the center and the guard to the linebacker up above Osiris Torrance. And then that's the first wrinkle. The next thing is with Wilson off the ball in front of Dion, his assignment is to take the defensive end. But I'm going to let you show you something here. As it gets closer to the snap, he mugs. Okay, mugging means when the linebacker's up into the line of scrimmage. So what I would have liked to have seen, instead of McGovern heading over here with Osiris Torrance, I would have liked to have an ace block between the center and left guard to the backside linebacker, let Torrance neutralize his 3 technique. And if Dion Dawkins saw this, because it happens in a fraction of a second, I would have blocked down on Wilson, and then I would have let Spencer Brown run the length of the line and kick out the defensive end. So what happens here is we get penetration rate between McGovern and Edwards, okay? Because we're double teaming a guy that's a 3 technique way out over by Spencer Brown. We'd have been better. We'd have been better combination blocking the 1 technique or the shade nose. And then if we block down on Dion Dawkins, look at the defensive end outside of Dion Dawkins, we have a much better opportunity to have Spencer Brown run the length of the field and look at the size of that gap.
Is that a check of the line? Like where's the misread in this?
The misread in this is just the fact that it happens a split second before the ball is snapped.
Gotcha.
Right.
That's normally
our guys are already in motion.
Right. But that's normally why they send guys in motion pre-snap, right? Is to identify a lot of this stuff.
No, you're not going to see a lot of this stuff pre-snap with motion. This is a static defensive front that they started a static defensive front, and they say, all right, if we see this look, we're going to bring this pressure, and that's the pressure they brought. Now, look, tough play, right? When you get stemming, and stemming is when a defensive front moves before the snap. Like the guy starts here and he ends up here before the snap, and that's a stem. So this happens in a fraction of an instant. Dion has a hard time either identifying it and doing it, or he's sticking to his rule. Now, we'll never know. But as I see this, the bigger problem is with McGovern and Edwards. This is a pretty clear ace block to the backside linebacker. Got it?
The backside linebacker being number 11, correct? On the
No, I'm saying the backside linebacker from an ace block is the guy over Torrance.
Gotcha. Okay. And then Dion would be picking up number 11.
That's right.
Gotcha. So everybody would shift to the opposite direction. So they would actually shift their assignment.
Well, it would look more like the actual philosophy and design of the play, where from Torrance to Dion, everybody goes right, and
right.
Spencer Brown comes left.
Gotcha. Very good. Excellent. Yep, that totally makes sense. Run it a couple times so we can see it.
Okay. There it is. Bang. So we get 2 collisions right behind the center, and that is no good, right? So
this is effectively just good film study by the Dolphins. Like you said, hey, if we get this look, this is how we're going to counter that play, right?
That's the funny thing is you think that, but they have no idea. Well, this could have been a pass play. This could have been a toss.
Right,
so
right.
if we were running zone right here, okay, if we're running wide zone out to the right, they're in trouble. They got nobody over. I can't tell if that's Kincaid or Knox. If we're tossing the ball right now to Ty, is that Ty Johnson?
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, we're off to the races, but we don't identify the front because this adjustment comes right before the snap.
Got it. Okay.
Got it?
Yep.
It's luck and timing, man. We ran the wrong play into the wrong defense.
Gotcha.
And they look like wizards, and we're like, oh. And they'll probably go back and they'll say, hey, we should call John Fina and see what he thinks about this. And then I got to do another 3 hours of meeting with the Bills offensive line coach.
That's amazing.
Okay, that's not what happens. All right. The next play is weak zone. I think we're running it to Spencer Brown's side, and Dion and Edwards have a backside block on a zone play between the guard and the tackle is called a B block. A backside A block is the center and the guard. A front side block is an ace. Front side block between a guard and a tackle is a deuce. Between a tackle and a tight end is a tray. So we're running weak zone. Dion missteps, trips, falls down. But I'm going to show you why the play is successful. Okay?
Got it.
And I'm not picking on Dion. Okay.
Love
Dion. All right. So there's the alignment. We are running weak zone to screen left or Bill's offensive line to the right. Spencer Brown is going out to the end. Osiris Torrance has a 3 technique right on his head, and they've got a nose. So Connor McGovern's on his own, hardest block on the field. And then on the backside, it's Edwards and Dion B blocking to number 11. Okay. And then the tight end and the wing are going to C block. That'd be a D block, really, all the way to number 4 or 5. I can't read it. All right. So that's
number 4. It's number 4.
This play that you're looking at, this is Thurman Thomas Wright. We ran this forever. Thurman is still icing his legs after running this play 25 years ago.
It's fantastic.
All right, let's run it. All right. Look, nice gain, right?
Yeah.
Okay, what makes this play happen is a hat on a hat, right? Everybody's got a hat on a hat. Now you think there's a breakdown, right? Dion trips on Edwards' left foot. He ends up on the ground, but Edwards ends up picking up his block. We're man across the board on the front, and everybody's got a hat on a hat. I'm going to freeze it right at the point of impact, right there. So even though Dion missed his guy because he's going to the ground, the defensive end or the defensive tackle still has to go out. He's off his track. He has to widen to get around him. And look at the width that Torrance and Spencer Brown have with their guys. That's a gaping hole. We call that a Joe Miller hole. Even Joe Miller could get through there.
Could have ran through that one, me and my fat butt. Okay.
That's right. The beauty of this play and the beauty of the philosophy of this play has always been that if you can get into hand-to-hand combat and get a tie and expand the field, the running back just gets to choose. And that's what we're going for. All right.
Gotcha.
And here we go. And there's the gap. Right? Edwards just gets a paw on number 11. Just a paw. Just enough. See that? You don't have to, I tell kids all the time, I don't need you to displace a guy 6 yards and drive 10 yards, drive him to the end zone. I just want you to be in front of him. Just have your feet underneath you, get your hands on a guy, disaffect the direction he wants to go.
Right.
Here we go. Run it again. And that's beautiful. Good cut. Make extra yards. I see stuff like that, and it gets me excited.
It definitely helped that Connor McGovern actually took his man, the nose tackle, or the guy that was playing the nose in that position, in that lineup, and actually pushed him into the end that beat Dion, right? Or that Dion tripped and fell, and so because he had to widen his arc, Connor just took his man and like pushed him straight into him, ended up blocking both guys, which was great.
That's right.
That my brain hurts. I feel like I learned something in this episode. It's been a minute since we've done any type of stuff like this, and the end zone view is much better than the way that we used to try to do it. And there's people already calling out. Sorry, there's a funny take from Ralph Wilson Sr. says, so it turns into an a-hole. But there's already people. Yeah, there's already people asking for us to get a telestrator, and we are working on it. I was actually doing some Googling on that before we went live. Just trying to find out. But yes, we would love to get both John and Jerry the ability to do so.
I would love to do a telestrator, but I also think that if I talk through it, it makes you focus harder, right? When I'm talking through it, you're really focusing on the guys that I'm talking about. Once you get the telestrator involved, kind of get a little bit like, okay, you're just dealing in sort of, bigger ideas. But if I can tell you to focus on this player, and this is the curse. This is the curse that Jerry and I and every offensive lineman has post-career, is I can't watch a football game without rewinding it, without saying, I need to see that play again. What the hell happened here?
Right,
and I'm like 10 minutes behind, not in a Bills game because I have to live tweet or something, but from watching a game, the game could be over by an hour and I'm still going back trying to figure out why they didn't run, why 57 didn't work, right? Or why 23 bang didn't work. And I'm just kind of slowly rewinding.
Right.
It's a curse, a privilege, and a luxury, right? To be able to diagnose what you see like that.
So very good. That was a nice taste of what we're going to get throughout the rest of the season. Before we get out of here, why don't you just surmise for us how you feel like this game went for the Buffalo Bills on the offensive line? Just kind of quick synopsis or summary, if you will, and then I'll let people get to the Monday Night Football game.
Yeah. So anytime we can force our will on the opposition through a balanced attack between inside run, outside run, play action pass, drop back pass, and have a decent amount of success, whether you score a ton of points or not, in which we did not do in the Miami game, right? We scored 24, 7 were by the defense. I mean, that's not even a touchdown a quarter, but you dominate and you beat them down mentally because everything you're doing is having a little bit of success, right? There are very few negative plays by the Bills, and they were able to just continue that consistent level of play. Whereas the defense, you're like, man, what's going on? Why can't we get a foothold here? Why can't we stop these guys? And you have sustained long drives with mostly successful plays, and it really is debilitating for offensive or defenses.
Solid work, John. Thank you so much for all of the education and the knowledge and putting all of that NFL career and college career and high school career to work right here on this show for the Bills Mafia to take it in and learn. And hopefully you won't infect them and it won't be a situation where they're like, what happened? And they have to rewind every single play 17 times to find out what's going on. But that was really, really good. Any final thoughts before we go? Anything?
No, man, I'm just excited to be legend of the game and spend some time with you in Buffalo. And
speaking of which, you're going to be out and about tailgating, yes, before the game?
Yes, I will.
Excellent. So if you are going to be at the Bills-Jaguars game on this next Monday night, a week from today, please do yourself a favor or find out or shoot John a message on Twitter and ask him where he's going to be or invite him over to your tailgate. And the two of us will probably be walking around together, I'm sure.
And if you want to see me on Sunday, come by the Bills store. I'll be, doing an autograph signing, fan welcoming from 4 p.m. to God knows when. But please come by and, find a nice T-shirt and say hello.
So we know, so Addison gets out of school. My youngest gets out of Frontier High School is closing down at 9:56 or something like that. So the whole area is going to be pretty much shut down all around the stadium. So get to the lots, tailgate, 4:00. Make your way over to the Bills store, meet John in person, and then obviously go back to the tailgates and have some more fun after that. Programming note do you have something?
The Bills store is Sunday.
The Bills store is Sunday. Oh, my bad.
Game day. Sunday.
My bad. I thought the Bill store was on Monday. So the Bill store 4:00 on Sunday afternoon. John will be at the Bill store signing autographs. And then tomorrow we got On the Beat. Wednesday, Hump Day Hotline. Thursday, the Big O Show with Jerry Ostrowski. Friday, If the Walls Could Talk in Buffalo. is the rest of kind of what's going on this week. And just a quick announcement, I've kind of been teasing it, and I kind of teased it in the comments section before we got started. We are about to open a Discord community. And for those of you that are not familiar with what Discord is kind of like the 2024, the new version of a message board. So back in the old days, we used to be on the Buffalo Bills message board, like, I don't even know, 20 years ago. And there's a whole lot of people on Twitter, actually, that I used to interact with on the Bills message board. Wyo's one of them, and some of the other ones that are now Robin Mundy, for those of you that don't know who Wyo is. Now everybody goes to Discord communities. So we're about to launch one of those. So you will begin finding John, me, and Jerry, and some of our contributors for this network there, live posting, live having conversations like during the Bills game, right there on Discord. So be on the lookout for that. You can sign up for that. But other than that, thank you guys so much for tuning into the Off Tackle with John Fina show on the Overreaction Sports Network, powered by Believe. For me, for John, for Jerry, it's so good to have you guys. Appreciate you. We'll talk to you tomorrow for On the Beat. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.